Welcome back to our channel, Exposing the Great Australian Government. All States Australia Acts Request Act 1985 Constitution. The main objective we need to understand is the fact that political parties are not within our primary law, Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. We are a constitutional monarchy. This gives us every right known to man. All States Australia Acts Request Act 1985 Constitution. Treason from within. I can explain this to you. I can't comprehend it for you. When we wake up, Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. Part 2. The Senate. 7. The Senate. The Senate shall be composed of senators for each state, directly chosen by the people of the state, voting until the Parliament otherwise provides as one electorate, not by political parties.
This part here where it says provides as one electorate, all senators in the 6 states are supposed to be in equal number, so one state doesn't override the other, and by one electorate means the senators all sit there and represent the state. They do not represent political parties, they represent the state, nothing else.
Part 3. The House of Representatives. 24. Constitution of the House of Representatives. The House of Representatives shall be composed of members directly chosen by the people of the Commonwealth, and the number of such members shall be, as nearly as practicable, twice the number of the senators, not by political parties.
The House of Representatives these people sit as representing their area, not as political parties. Like when I first got into this issue, I went and seen my local member and explained things to him, and he just turned around and said to me, it's not within our party's interest to help you. So all he was doing was representing a political party. These people are against or don't represent us in any way, shape or form. What we've got to have in our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act is whatever area that person represents, he represents those people, nothing else. So therefore, in that system, we under our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted, we can take that so-called representative out and make sure he represents us and does what we want. And if he doesn't do that, we can kick him out, take him out, tar and feather him, kick him out, do what we want. But he has to represent the people that is within that area.
So we've got Australian Labor Party, which equals political party, which equals treason. Below that we've got Katter's Australian Party, Liberal National Party, the Greens, Animal Justice Party, One Nation, the Great Australia Party, plus many more. These are all political parties, which equals treason. Federal political party corporations have a boardroom called the Senate. They have a meeting place called the House of Representatives. For their corporation they have a clown purportedly called the Governor-General, for their corporate, sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. All state political party corporations have a clown purportedly called the Governor, for their sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. These corporations have no crown and constitutional authority. None of the above so-called political parties have any authority over anybody outside their corporations. Political party purported Governor-General and all state political party governors sit in treason.
What you got to remember here also with these political parties, in 1999 we voted them all out and their laws out. So it's just up to us to stand up, because we've already said no to their treasonous system, which is their republic.
Treason from within. Australia Acts Request Act 1985. The Queensland Governor sold his soul to the Queensland political parties by using the Royal Coat of Arms and the Crown enacting manner and form purporting to give the treasonous act Crown authority. What do you gain by selling your soul? An act to enable the constitutional arrangements affecting the Commonwealth and the states to be brought into conformity with the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation. And
with this system, it's not our system. This is, when they talk about this conformity, they're telling us that this Commonwealth of Australia is not ours, and they're enforcing their definition by using the word status. They're dictating that their Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent federal nation. This is just straight out corporations taking, it's like a political coup at the present time. They're pretending to be representing us when they're not.
So they place their corporation seal and copyrighted to their changed constitutional definitions of our primary law an act to constitute the Commonwealth of Australia, 9th of July 1900, which equals treason. Now on the right hand side you've got the kangaroo and the emu, which is their corporate functionary seal, with the Roman wreath underneath.
That seal also is trademarked. Now, in its proper form, in its original form, it has a royal warrant. It is a public functionary seal for our Commonwealth of Australia. It is, what they've done is just straight out treason. They've changed our seals to their system to make it look like, in this coup that they're enforcing, to take over our whole country.
So the question must be asked, when was the referendum to create the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense? Now the Oxford Dictionary status, noun, the official classification given to a country. The Oxford Dictionary meaning for conformity, noun, compliance with conventions, rules or law. By using the word status, the political parties have dictated that is the definition of their Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. Therefore, the state political parties, by joining that system, their definition changed from being an original states shall mean such states as are parts of the Commonwealth at its establishment, to the treasonous political parties sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. Queensland, under the status of a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense, political parties took ownership of everything. Land is now measured in metres. The status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. Everything is now registered to the Queensland Government. No more Government of Queensland.
People have got to realise that the Queensland Government is the corporation, and like when we had the Government of Queensland, it is the government, the of is belonging to, so you have a government belonging to Queensland. That was our government. This Queensland Government is just a corporation.
So treasonous courts under their political party masters don't recognise a Crown deed of grant held in fee simple and guaranteed by the defender of the faith. Under the treasonous political parties, their Queensland, The people have no rights and are the owners of nothing. Treason from within. 2001. The Parliament of Queensland. Constitution of Queensland 2001 and the Parliament of Queensland Bill 2001. Second reading speech. Circulated by authority of the Premier and the Minister for Trade, the Honourable Peter Beattie. Honourable.
This is the only time that I've ever found where they have actually lawfully circulated, not lawfully, but just circulated the second reading speech, the Hansard of it that went through government, or not government, the Parliament. This is so everybody within the Parliament understands what is happening.
Under our primary law, Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted, together with Queensland's Constitution Act 1867, we don't have a Prime Minister, Premier or an MP. Extracts. The entities it provides for include this Parliament, the Supreme and District Courts of this state, and the system of local government that we know in Queensland. The office holders under this Act include the Governor of Queensland, the Ministers of the Crown, and the Judges of the Supreme and District Courts. This law is of supreme importance.
This whole system here, they are enforcing their corporation system over the people. In 1992, they created their own private parliament in Queensland against our Commonwealth, our Queensland Constitution.
These treasonous political parties' parliament, under their Queensland as a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense, own and control the Supreme, District Courts, local governments, their treasonous Governor, Ministers of the Crown, Crown being the executive government, appointing all judges of the Supreme and District Courts.
Also, what you realise here when they're talking about the local governments, every state after the Australia Acts created a local government because they all changed their definition to a sovereign independent federal nation, where the political parties then took ownership of all land in every state under their meters, was their definition for their land. This is, local governments are just an extortion racket for their treasonous political parties.
So, if anything positive is to come from this tragedy, it is that we know that we can no longer afford to take our way of life for granted, that we need to take the time to cherish the great democracy we live in. Our identity as a sovereign state, the democratic ideals on which our state is built, rest on our Constitution. We the people just finished voting to stay as a constitutional monarchy in 1999, and the treasonous political parties are enforcing their treason in 2001. The Constitution of Queensland 2001 does not include a statement of executive power vesting in the sovereign as recommended by Legal, Constitutional and Administrative Review Committee. The government is of the view that Legal, Constitutional and Administrative Review Committees' recommended expression of executive power is too narrow and does not adequately reflect the democratic convention that requires the governor to act in accordance with advice from his or her ministers. The government will refer this matter back to Legal, Constitutional Administrative Review Committee for further consideration. The so-called Premier states that there is no Crown authority and their governor doesn't represent our Crown. Their governor sits in treason. You can't have a governor representing our Crown in a democracy.
Political parties are constantly pushing the system of being a democracy, and it's like we said, we are a constitutional monarchy. We have every right known to mankind in that system. Being a democracy, which the political parties are trying to push for, they own and control everything, including the people. We have no rights whatsoever.
Treason from within. The centrepiece of this package will be an annotated constitution, which will provide a plain English explanation of our constitutional arrangements. Those provisions that are said to be referendum entrenched remain untouched in the shells of their current acts. This is a blatant lie, as they remove referendum entrenched section 14.
This section 14 goes back to our 1867 Constitution, where it stipulates, and even when it was brought forward in 1925 to the letters patent again in 1925, that section 14 appoints the judiciary by the governor alone.
Our governor, representing the Crown, appoints in our name and on our behalf all such judges, commissioners, justices of the peace. The government aspires to a constitution that not only reflects 21st modern language of the 21st century, but also reflects public attitudes in the century. We the people just finished voting to stay as a constitutional monarchy in 1999, and the treasonous political parties are enforcing their treason in 2001. I thank the members of the opposition for the supportive and cooperative approach they have taken to the consolidation exercise over the years under both the former leader of the opposition, Mr. Borbidge, and the current leader of the opposition, Mike Horan. When I, Peter Beattie, go down, you all come with me.
This is the second reading speech, so all Parliament knows what he is doing. He's creating treason, enforcing treason, removing the Crown, using a governor that doesn't represent the Crown, all these things, but he's making sure that everybody in Parliament is sitting there has listened to what he's done. So if he gets taken down for the treason he's created, the whole Parliament comes with him.
I have already offered the Leader of the Opposition a briefing on the bills from officers of my department, and I understand that has been done. I would like to take this opportunity to extend an offer to any member of this House who would like a similar briefing. This legislation will lie on the table for 2 weeks while the Parliament is in recess. I say this to any member of this Parliament who wants a brief on these bills. The door is open. Constitutional reform is never easy. It is complicated and difficult. Therefore, every member should be given appropriate briefings. I offer that today. Therefore, all members are a part of the treason created here today, and you have had every opportunity to have your say. When I, Peter Beattie, go down, you will all come with me. Now on the left is, I believe that's the first make of their seal.
Their corporation seal that they created in 1997. It's a private corporation seal, that's all it is. What you got to realise there is we're not under that seal, and their laws these laws that they're putting in here at this time are copyrighted to them. So we're not between the seal and the copyright. This is just total treason by political parties which are not within any of our original constitutions and our Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. This is just a private corporation system, and like you can see there on the right, you've got Queensland Parliament, with its corporation seal in the middle. It is not the Parliament of Queensland seal. So this is just total treason.
And it's all been done behind the people's back, but enacted by the whole Parliament. Treason from within. Queensland Constitution. Copyright. The Constitution of Queensland 2001, annotated section by section for easier understanding. Copyright. The State of Queensland, Department of the Premier and Cabinet, 2002. Extracts. By Premier Peter Beattie. Good democratic government relies on its citizens' understanding of the system of government and their ability to participate in that system. Queensland's identity as a state and the democratic ideals on which our state is built rest on our Constitution. The new Consolidated Constitution of their Queensland 2001 makes our Constitution more accessible to all Queenslanders by bringing it together in one document and in language that we can all understand. This annotated guide presents the new Consolidated Constitution with explanatory notes alongside each section. It is a simple, smart read. Elizabeth R. R stands for the Latin Regina, meaning Queen. A sovereign is a king, queen, or other monarch. At present, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II is the Queen of Australia.
When they turn around and talk about the sovereign is a king, queen, or other monarch, I have documents where royal assent has been given and the Queen hasn't been in England at the time to sign them. So the Queen's daughter, I've forgotten her name, and the Queen's mother signed them. Princess Anne signed them and the Queen's mother signed them. So that would cover the or other monarch.
Queensland is a constitutional monarchy with the Queen as head of the state, or as head of state, and the Governor is the Queen's representative in Queensland. The Queen must personally sign the Governor's document of appointment, and this document, the Governor's Commission, is sealed with the public seal of the state, which is the corporation seal, which equals treason.
This public seal of the state, is what I explained before, was first they created it in 1997 for themselves, copyrighted to themselves, also under the seal of the Queensland copyright, also under their seal as well. No, that's not it.
No?
No.
Oh.
The public seal, keep going down. This is the public seal of the state here in Queensland, corporation seal on that page. Now, that has got no crown or constitutional authority at all. And if you, like they talked about the Local Government Act is done under that seal and copyrighted. So it's this whole system is just a fraudulent coup system of taking over the whole of our Commonwealth of Australia as established under the Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act and the states as original states.
Right. Treason from within. A seal is a device that leaves an impression on paper and provides a mark of authenticity on certain official instruments. The public seal of the state is the seal that demonstrates the sovereign's authority in Queensland. Examples of documents that the Governor seals with the public seal of the state include commissions appointing members of the judiciary, deputy governors, ministers and executive councillors, as well as various types of proclamations.
Just remember in this here where they talk about is the seal that demonstrates the sovereign's authority. Just remember that they've changed the definition of sovereign. The sovereign in this is to the Queen of Australia.
The Governor is appointed by commission under public seal of the state, Corporation Seal. The document is published in the Queensland Government Gazette. The Governor is then sworn in by the most senior judicial officer in the state, the Chief Justice of the Supreme Court of Queensland. This purported Chief Justice of their treasonous Supreme Court, both under the public seal of the state, Corporation Seal.
Now, these, like it said here in the second reading speech, that we've taken the Supreme Court and District Courts with them, all these judges sit under this Corporation Seal. And they know it. Every time I've been to court, whether it's the Supreme Court, District Court, or any other damn court I've been in, they all bloody will know what they've done. So all these judges are just sitting in total treason.
Alright, what do we got here? I hereby certify that this public bill has finally passed the Legislative Assembly of Queensland.
Just before we go any further there, this is a photograph taken of the Parliamentary Library by a lady that was helping me out. Now, basically all this does is show the differences of the signatures of Peter Arneson. Now, the court, can we just go up a little bit? An act to consolidate particular laws relating to the Constitution of the State of Queensland and for other purposes. Now, this is Act number 80, which is the Constitutional of Queensland 2001. Now, it's when a bill is signed off, it becomes an act, but it seems to have lost the act part of it. And I think there's a lot to do with these different signatures by one governor at the time. We got a governor of the House, Peter Arneson, and then we've got a governor of where he signed a lot of other different things. So there's two totally different signatures and only one governor. And as you can see, the Corporation Seal on the document, no Crown or constitutional authority. It's just straight out treason. This whole system is a private system purporting to be our parliament and our government, and the laws they're purporting. Like under this system, there's no Crown or constitutional authority. This therefore, since 1985, with the Australia Acts Request Act done by all states, it's removed all Crown authority from all police, courts, everything, and governors, state governors right throughout, and the Governor General, he was wiped out in 1960.
Right, treason from within. So on the left hand side we've got the Corporation Seal. This is the bill that was deleted, wasn't it? Or the act? Yes.
There were sections on the system here. We have both under the same seal, both enacted or came into force, commenced on the 6th of June 2002. Now, in the first act that came in, Schedule 2 was sitting there, and Schedule 2 is about 14-15 pages, something like that, of treason, of what they created and what they, how they changed all the definitions. And then on the same day, this same act was put into Parliament, or was enacted on the same day, and commencement. This act commences on the 6th of June 2002. Now, one was done copyrighted State of Queensland, the other one was copyrighted State of Queensland. One was copyrighted on 2001 and the other one was copyrighted 2002, but the whole system was as these two acts were put in on the same, commenced on the same day. With one you see Schedule 2, and then the next act comes in, now you don't see Schedule 2. This is how they do things behind people's back.
Treason. So, both of them are copyrighted to the state of Queensland. Both corporation purported acts state they commencement on the 6th of June 2002. Reprint number 1 has removed Schedule 2, as Dick has just explained. Schedule 2 is from page 42 to 56, and we will link that under the video so you can go and have a look at Schedule 2. Within Schedule 2 holds many criminal offences. Extracts, page 42. Schedule 2 amendments. Acts Interpretation Act 1954.
What you remember with these Acts Interpretation Acts, those acts are the definitions for the acts. They turn around, and if you can't find it in the act, a definition for it in the act itself, you go to the Acts Interpretation Act. If you can't find it there, you go to the Oxford Dictionary. This is all English law. You don't use Black's Law dictionaries. That's American shit. We are under English law under our Commonwealth Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted.
So number 1, section 33 1A, Crown, and this is the Queen of Australia. Omit, insert, state. 51, powers of the state. The executive government is now their crown. Number 1, the executive government of the state of Queensland, the state, has all the powers and the legal capacity of an individual.
So the executive government today is the Crown. Like, I was in court in the Supreme Court, and Crown Law were taking me to court to shut me up. Now, I could not understand why Crown Law would take me to court to shut me up when they should have been on my side of the court helping me. But this Crown Law represents the state, the executive government. This is how they've screwed the whole system over. We don't have a crown in this system anymore. We have the state, which is the executive government. This is why, police today are just mercenaries for this executive government. They got no crown or constitutional authority. The courts have got no crown or constitutional authority. They're just there to enforce political party treason.
So this political party corporation, Queensland, as a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense, removed all Crown authority within the Australia Acts Request Act 1985. First and second schedule. Interpretation 16.1. In this Act, unless the contrary intention appears, Governor, in relation to a state, includes any person for the time being administering the government of the state.
This system, see, what they've done is the governor, our governor, under our system, represents the Crown. He's the only one that can use the Royal Coat of Arms. That's why in all these things now you've got this public functionary seal created in 1997 by these political parties. But we still got to go back to the system. But political parties are not within our Commonwealth of Australia 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. They are just a treasonous system. Now this system here, they've turned around because they're not under our constitution. They have removed the Crown, so therefore nobody has Crown authority. When you turn around and change the governor from representing the Crown, and like from 1985 forward, his commissions are under public seal of the state. It's total treason.
So this 16.1 alone is an act of treason. This so-called governor sits in treason, has no crown and constitutional authority.
Just stick with that governor for a minute. He's the only one that can give royal assent to an act. So you go back to the system where even in their Acts Interpretation Act, they're telling, in every state, they're telling you that all acts are purported acts with purported enactments. They're telling you they got no crown and constitutional authority. This is a political coup taking over our whole system of our Commonwealth of Australia.
So, treason from within, page 44, Schedule 2 continued, Constitution Act 1867. Number 1, Preamble, omit. Number 2, Sections 3 to 10, omit. Number 3, heading before Section 12, relocate as heading before Section 11A. Number 4, Section 12 to heading before Section 30, omit. By removing Section 12 to heading before Section 30, they have removed Section 14, which is referendum entrenched. This voids the Act.
Remember in the second reading speech he said we have left all the referendum entrenched sections there? He was just lying straight out.
Number 5, before Section 30, as a heading, insert Crown land. The executive government is now their Crown. All land is controlled by the executive government, and they only have the power and the legal capacity of an individual. Ask yourselves, what power has any local government council got? As they don't have any. Our Crown authority. They all sit in treason. Page 46, Schedule 2 continued. District Court Act 1967. Number 1, title, after court, insert, of Queensland. Number 2, Section 1, after court, insert, of Queensland. So we went from this on the left hand side, from this with our Crown and constitutional authority, to this purported court with the power of an individual, which equals treason, on the right hand side. District Court of their Queensland Act 1967. Treason from within, page 47, Schedule 2 continued. Number 3, Section 3, definitions, court or district court, and judge or district court judge, omit. Number 4, Section 3, insert, court, means the district court of their Queensland. District court means the district court of their Queensland. District court judge means a judge of the district court of their Queensland. Judge means a judge of the district court of their Queensland. All purported members of the judiciary sit as a quorum with the power of an individual and enforce political party treason. Page 49, Schedule 2 continued. Evidence Act 1977. Number 1, Section 41, heading. Heading was Seal of Queensland. This seal has a royal warrant, which they have omitted, and insert 41, Public Seal of the State. Number 2, Section 41, Seal of Queensland, omit, insert. So on the left we have the Public Seal of the State, which has the Imperial Crown, which links to the British Empire.
On the left is the royal. That's the right one. That's on.
Oh, did I say right? Did I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry.
You said left.
Yeah.
Hang on, that's left. You're right. Sorry.
That's all right. So on the left we've got our Public Seal of the State with the Imperial Crown, linked to the British Empire, which has a royal warrant. On the right we have the Royal Crown, or St Edward's Crown, and their take of what our seals look like.
Basically, what they've done to create this system of illusion, they've removed the Imperial Crown, which is there on the left. I'll get it right one day. Left, and on the right they've put in a St Edward's Crown, or actually in the actual document of when they created it, it is classed as a Royal Crown, but their Chief Justice, Paul de Jersey, calls it in his speech a St Edward's Crown, so take your pick. But it's taken the link to the British Empire out, and therefore it's got no authority. It's just how would you? It's
a copy.
It's a treasonous copy.
Yep.
And a purported system trying to pretend that they have Crown authority.
Treason from within, Queensland, and there's our proper Royal Coat of Arms with the lion and the unicorn. So, Criminal Code Act 1899, being enacted by the Queen's Most Excellent Majesty, by and with the advice and consent of the Legislative Assembly of Queensland in Parliament assembled, and by the authority of the same, as follows.
That there is the enacting manner and form of Crown authority. What we've got today is it's just nothing to do with that whatsoever.
So, punishment in special cases, public seals, etc. Now we've just seen the public seals. Number 1, if the thing forged, A, purports to be or is intended by the offender to be understood to be or to be used as the Great Seal of the United Kingdom or of Queensland, or Her Majesty's Privy Seal, or any privy signet of Her Majesty, or Her Majesty's Royal Sign Manual, or the seal of the Governor, or any public seal lawfully appointed to be used for authenticating an act of state in any part of Her Majesty's dominions, or B, is a document having on it or affixed to it any such seal, signet, or sign manual, or anything which purports to be or is intended by the offender to be understood to be any such seal, signet, or sign manual, the offender is liable to imprisonment with hard labour for life. Page 54, Schedule 2 continued. Supreme Court of Queensland Act 1991. Number 12, Appointment of Chief Justice. Number 1, the Governor in Council may, by commission, appoint a judge to be Chief Justice. 53. 53. See the Constitution of Queensland 2001, Section 59, Appointment of Judges for the oath or affirmation requirement. Our Queensland Constitution Act of 1867. The Governor may constitute and appoint in our name and on our behalf all such judges. Section 14. This section was removed in their Australia Acts Request Act 1985. Section 14 is referendum entrenched. No referendum, no act. Treason from within. Constitution of Queensland 2001, Schedule 1, continued. Oath or affirmation of allegiance and of office. Judge. I, with his name, AB, do sincerely promise and swear, or for an affirmation, do sincerely promise and affirm, that I will be faithful and bear true allegiance to her or His Majesty, name of the Sovereign, as lawful Sovereign of Australia, and to her or his heirs and successors, according to law.
Now, the lawful Sovereign of Australia is their Australia, because don't forget, their Australia is an abstract entity and a sovereign independent federal nation, is the Queen of Australia. And as in the second reading speech they tell you, it's not. It's the annotated constitution for Queensland's Constitution 2001 is Queen of Australia.
So, as a judge of the Supreme Court of Queensland or District Court of Queensland, and or as title of other office, for example, Chief Justice of Queensland, I will at all times and in all things do equal justice to all persons and discharge the duties and responsibilities of the office according to law, to the best of my knowledge and ability, without fear, favour or affection. So help me God. Or omitted for an affirmation.
So in their system they removed humbly relying on the blessings of Almighty God. That's they don't consolidate it. That's what it's not actually removed. It's just not consolidated. That means they don't bring it forward. So they've just all sold their souls.
So what do you gain by selling your soul? A sovereign is a king, queen, or other monarch. At present, Her Majesty Queen Elizabeth II is the Queen of Australia. Religious leaders agreed to this treason when they sold their souls to the treasonous political parties. Considering Whitlam in 1973 created the abstract Queen of Australia, this voids all acts for their enforcements are void. Australian Electoral Act 1973, Australian Citizenship Act 1973, Family Court of Australia Act 1975, Federal Court of Australia Act 1976, Australian Federal Police Act 1979, High Court of Australia Act 1979. This low-life treasonous High Court of their Australia sit on top of all political party courts. The Constitution Commission 1988 proposed alteration to the Constitution. You need a referendum for the Queen of Australia. All the above are thrown under the bus. Treason from within. There's the Queensland Corporation seal again. Constitution of Queensland 2001, Act number 80 of 2001. 2. Commencement. This Act commences on the 6th of June 2002. Copyright to the State of Queensland. Part 5. Powers of the State. Division 1. General. 51. Powers of the State. Number 1. The executive government of the State of Queensland, the State, has all the powers and legal capacity of an individual.
The State, remember, has no crown and constitutional authority. It is a private corporation system.
Number 2. The State may exercise its powers A. Inside and outside Queensland, and B. Inside and outside Australia. 3. This part does not limit the State's powers. Example: this part does not affect any power a minister has apart from this part to bind the State by contract. Division 2. Commercial activities. Number 52. Definitions for Division 2. In this division, commercial activities includes A. Commercial activities that are not within the ordinary functions of the State, and B. Commercial activities of a competitive nature, and C. Activities declared by an Act to be commercial activities, but does not include activities declared by an Act not to be commercial activities. State includes a public sector unit. Number 53. Commercial activities by State. 1. The State may carry out commercial activities. 2. This section is sufficient statutory authority for the State to carry out a commercial activity. 3. Commercial activities may be carried out A. without further statutory authority, and B. without prior appropriation from the Consolidated Fund for the purpose. 4. Commercial activities may be carried out A. inside and outside Queensland, and B. inside and outside Australia.
What you got to realise here, these commercial activities include creating a local government, controlling remember they turn around and change the definition of land to metres. We have it in our system as roods, purchase and acres. So they've turned around and created commercial activities with their local government acts. All these councillors are just working at commercial activities for the Minister of Local Government. It's just a commercial activities to screw you, because you still think you own your land when you own absolutely nothing. And when you look at the definition of land, it includes the buildings on it. So you get your house built, you turn around and think you can pass it on sell it and all this sort of thing, but you own nothing to sell. And what they consider rates is your rent for you to the government or to the political parties, because they own it. We've got to realise political parties are not within our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted. This is all commercial activities by political parties. Wake up.
Number 54. Commercial activities by minister. A minister may carry out commercial activities for the state, spur the extortion racket, as well as cancels. The list goes on. 55. Delegation by minister. 1. A minister may delegate a power of the state to an appropriately qualified officer of the state.
Just remember, the state has the power of an individual, nothing more.
Number 2. An officer of the state may subdelegate the delegated power to another appropriately qualified officer of the state. 3. In this section, appropriately qualified in relation to a delegated power includes having the qualifications, experience or standing appropriate to exercise the power. Example of standing: a person's level of employment in the entity in which the person is employed. Officer of the state means A chief executive or employee of a public sector unit.
I had a meeting when we were in all this trouble with the chief executive officer with national parks and that system, and his attitude was, while the courts give it to us, we will take it. In other words, he wasn't considering whether it was right or wrong. As long as these treasonous courts, purported courts, gave them the authority, they could take it. But these treasonous courts are under that public seal of the state and are part of the treason that goes with it.
B. An officer of the public service. Number 57. Supreme Court and District Court. There must be a Supreme Court of their Queensland and a District Court of their Queensland. 58. Supreme Court Superior Jurisdiction. Number 1. The Supreme Court has all the jurisdiction necessary for the administration of justice in their Queensland. Number 2. Without limiting subsection 1, the court, A, is the Superior Court of Record in their Queensland and the Supreme Court of General Jurisdiction in and for the state, and B, has, subject to the Commonwealth Constitution, unlimited jurisdiction at law, in equity and otherwise. Their Commonwealth Constitution is copyrighted and is together with the Australia Act 1986, which is total political party treason. Australia Acts Request Act 1985, an act to enable the constitutional arrangements affecting the Commonwealth and the states to be brought into conformity with the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation, and place their corporation seal and copyrighted to their changed constitutional definitions our primary law, and act to constitute the Commonwealth of Australia 9th of July 1900, which equals total treason.
They've used their copyrighted or their trademarked seal over it, which is a public functionary seal. And if you know, if you go into all states' acts today, they use public functionary seals to get, or look-alike public functionary seals, because the simple fact is they can't use the Royal Coat of Arms because there's no Crown or constitutional authority from 1985 forward.
So the question must be asked, when was the referendum to create the status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. And remember the Oxford Dictionary? Status. It's a noun, the official classification given to a country. And the Oxford Dictionary meaning for conformity. It's a noun, compliance with conventions, rules or law. By using the word status, the political parties have dictated that. That is the definition of their Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. Therefore, the state political parties, by joining that system, their definition changed from being an original states shall mean such states as are parts of the Commonwealth at its establishment. And it went to the treasonous political parties, sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense, which is treason. Queensland, under the status of a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense, political parties took ownership of everything. Land is now measured in metres. The status of the Commonwealth of Australia as a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. Everything is now registered to the Queensland Government. No more Government of Queensland. As is clearly shown in the above, this is not a Parliament of the people, by the people, for the people. This is a corporation of treasonous political parties with the intent to extract as much blood as they can, mostly done by changing definitions, but using the same words, all done behind the people's back. In the referendum of 1999, the writ was established by the treasonous political party's owned and controlled traitor, Governor-General. The people still said no to the treasonous political party's republic. Therefore, by the treasonous political parties taking no notice, they have enforced treason upon themselves and all those that are helping enforce their treason. Treasonous actions by the political parties have removed our Queen from our primary law, Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 1901 as proclaimed and gazetted, removed our Queen from our Parliament, removed our Queen from her title, removed our Queen's enacting manner and form, removed our Queen from her courts. By the above, the treasonous political parties have, in a sense, killed our Queen. Political parties have copyrighted our primary law, Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act 9th of July 1900, and changed the constitutional and official definitions, then put their great seal of their Australia over it. Treasonous political party corporate Queensland, treason from within, Queen of Australia. We've got the beautiful looking traitor on the left hand side, pile of shit. We've got Queensland Parliament, which is treason. Then we've got another Elizabeth II, but it's got Queen of Australia written on it. Supreme Court of Queensland. All treason. Then we've got, what do we got here? 7 of them. Yeah. So the above 6 so-called Queensland governors all sold their souls to the treasonous political parties, all appointed by public seal of the state. The state has taken ownership of the Crown. Therefore, all 6 governors sit in treason. These treasonous governors have no Crown and constitutional authority. Therefore, can't give royal assent to any act. All states are the same. That's why every state parliament tells us all acts from 1986 forward are only purported acts with purported enactments. Walter Campbell was the so-called governor of Queensland that sold his soul to the treasonous political parties and enacted their Australia Acts Request Act 1985, number 69, and purportedly gave it royal assent. Oh, we've got their trademark seal up the top, High Court of Australia. Total fraud and treason. No sunset clause for fraud or treason. Political party judiciary sit as a quorum. No crown and no constitutional authority. Just sit in treason. Alright, what's this one here, Dick?
This is where you have to have royal assent. This is what they've turned around in the back door. They've changed our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, Section 58, royal assent to bills. Now, we don't have a Governor-General to give royal assent, and we don't have any state governors to give royal assent. So therefore, this is, in a sense, changing our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act by taking out the authority. And also, when you turn around and you've got Section 61 where the Governor-General sits there as representing Her Most Excellent Majesty, all this has been done through the back door. You've turned around and they've changed the definitions of the Queen, all this sort of thing. It all boils down to total treason against our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act and state constitutions, our original constitutions. Like, this whole system is a play on definitions, but using the same, like they still use 1901 Acts Interpretation Act, but they created again in 1973, but just it's a con job to refer back to the original acts as if they were still valid today. But you can't have those original acts under their system of a sovereign, independent and federal nation in a geographical sense. The geographical sense basically tells you it's just writing on a piece of paper. So in all sense, we're fighting the pen. So that's all we've got to stand up to against. Plus these idiots, they run around in uniforms, calling themselves federal police, state police. The whole damn lot of them are mercenaries, and that's the best name you can call them, because basically, quite honestly, they're just straight out pigs.
I agree.
And also, while we're in our Commonwealth of Australia Constitution Act, with this, what they've changed is if you go to sections 51, subsection 6, all forces, like all the Governor-General is the Commander-in-Chief, all those forces there, as well as state forces, are to support and defend the laws made by the Parliament of the Commonwealth. So where are they?
All hiding. Alright, what do we got? Treason, Crimes Act, 1914 to 1960. Extracts from the Crimes Act, 1914 to 1960 of the Commonwealth of Australia. Treason.
This I've used this piece here because the simple fact is that they've changed everything, and you don't have from 1960 forward, you don't have a Governor-General to change anything valid. So anything he's changed is just a piece of shit.
Is that why they stopped it at 1960? Right.
That's how I understand it anyway.
Yep. Treason, number 24. 1. A person who A. kills the sovereign, does the sovereign any bodily harm tending to the death or destruction of the sovereign, or maims, wounds, imprisons or restrains the sovereign.
When you look at restrains the sovereign, we've actually restrained her, we've imprisoned her, in the sense that we've turned around and put the Queen of Australia in place. We've changed her definition, we've changed the sovereign's definition. All these things have restrained her from her courts, her parliament. Like the Queen sits in our legislative assembly as well as the members of the House of Representatives, as represented by the Speaker of those two houses. We've restrained it by creating a parliament under a sovereign, independent federal nation.
B. Kills the eldest son and her apparent or the Queen consort of the sovereign. C. Levies war or does an act preparatory to levying war against the Commonwealth.
Well, in that system, we are at war with political parties, and they have turned around and created what we would call our police force, which is their police force now, and their federal police, as an army, because they're mercenaries. They wear a uniform, they carry arms, they're working for a foreign entity, so they're claimed as mercenaries. So they're levying war against the people of the Commonwealth, of our Commonwealth.
D. Assists by any means whatsoever with intent to assist an enemy, 1. At war with the Commonwealth, whether or not the existence of a state of war has been declared, and 2. Specified by proclamation made for the purpose of this paragraph to be an enemy at war with the Commonwealth. E. Instigates a foreigner to make an armed invasion of the Commonwealth or any territory not forming part of the Commonwealth. Or F. Forms an intention to do any act referred to in a preceding paragraph of this subsection and manifests that intention by an overt act, shall be guilty of an indictable offence called treason and liable to the punishment of death. Number 24. 2. A person who A. receives or assists another person who is, to his knowledge, guilty of treason in order to enable him to escape punishment, or B. knowing that a person intends to commit treason, does not give information thereof with all reasonable dispatch to a constable, or use of other reasonable endeavours to prevent the commission of the offence, shall be guilty of an indictable offence, penalty, imprisonment for life.
This here is, like I explain to people, every time you write to your council, your police, the political parties, you should be putting under that you have transferred the guilt of knowledge of treason to put their names in, and to their heirs and successors, because you're transferring your guilt forward, because you're of the understanding that these political parties are sitting in treason. And you cannot have the knowledge of treason or even think of treason without transferring that knowledge to somebody who thinks they have authority over you, which is your useless bloody police force or your courts. I last time I was in court, I put treason straight into the court, and they just went right off their heads about it, and the lawyers carried on with it. But the thing was, I just transferred the guilt that I knew of treason and the facts that I knew of treason to them all. So they're all sitting there in treason. So that in a sense, if they haven't done anything with it, so they're in a sense they're entitled to the death penalty.
And they all know. What do we got? 24.3. On the trial of a person charged with treason, on the ground that he formed an intention to do an act referred to in paragraph A, B, C, D, or E of subsection 1 of this section, and manifested that intention by an overt act, evidence of the overt act shall not be admitted unless the overt act was alleged in the indictment. 24.4. A sentence of death passed by a court in pursuance of this section shall be carried into execution in accordance with the law of the state or territory in which the offender is convicted, or if the law of that state or territory does not provide for the execution of sentences of death, in accordance with the directions of the Governor-General.